Welcome to SAD TV's news. I'm Shanna Esprit, your presenter. In our top stories, landslide hinders local residents from daily commute. Regional governments urged to become Liat shareholders. U.S. ready to launch Syria strike, says Chuck Hagel. And in sports, 15-member West Indies A-team squad for a one-month tour of India from September 13th. Details of this will follow.
Yeah. I know that things are tough, but we will make it out. Dominica, we all gonna make it one day. The pressures of the system make us lose around. Oh yeah, we all gonna make it one day. Yeah, listen now, there's something that I wanna say to you. You get me so angry. Yeah man, this is Emma Moses, you know, and you're watching SAT News, the People's Choice, yeah? Make it bless, make it bless, make it bless. Love.
Welcome back. On August 30th from 6 p.m. at the Sunset Bay Club, the second closing ceremony of a dive course for less fortunate children between the ages of 12 to 14 will take place. This was presented by the Sunset Bay Club and the Seaside Dive Resort in collaboration with French dive instructors Plongée du Monde. Plongée du Monde began this program in Dominica in 2011 and has returned for their third consecutive year to help the kids pursue their dreams. The course is targeted for children whose parents and guardians are unable to pay for the dive certification courses. A team of 4 dive instructors and trainees handled the beginner's dive course, while a team of 7 dive instructors and trainees managed the continuing students' dive course. Plongée du Monde is a group of volunteer dive instructors who travel the world teaching less fortunate children to dive, thus providing an opportunity for the children to become involved in the dive industry as they get older. Each year for the closing ceremony, Mrs. Marcella Cools, manager of Sunset Bay Club, requested the presence of the different media houses, government officials, more directly in the Ministry of Tourism, representatives of the Dominica Water Sports Association and the DHTA, as well as the parents of the various participants. She would like Plongée du Monde to see that Dominica is grateful for the work that they are doing with our children. They travel the world teaching children in various countries to dive with all charges at their own cost, and they chose Dominica out of many countries. I think we must all unite as one and applaud them. Let's show them that the Nature Isle of the Caribbean has welcomed them for their tremendous work, she stated. In more news, regional airline Liat has been experiencing major backlogs of passengers due to mechanical problems of their fleet. Local Liat manager Gerald Coulslatic has called on Dominican travelers to restore confidence in the regional airline. Mr. Coulslatic says the company is concerned about the well-being of passengers and assures that the operations of Liat will be back to normal after 3 weeks of disorder which occurred due to mechanical problems with a new plane.
I just want the public to do not lose the confidence that they had in Liat. I personally think that, better days are ahead. We should not be having those kind of issues before when we get all our new planes. Granted, those we have now, the old ones have a lot of issues. They are breaking down, and as you know, we are very concerned about the safety of our customers.
According to the local manager of Liat, the safety of its customers is the company's primary responsibility, hence one of the reasons why many flights were cancelled for the past few weeks. In other news, a closing ceremony for mass casualty management training on Monday, August 26, was held at the Melville Hall Fire Station to congratulate 30 participants who graduated with 100% passes. Don Corriette, disaster coordinator, said training is an ongoing process for self-development and professionalism.
So please don't take the training that culminated in our exercise on Friday night to be the end of it all. It's just the beginning. And we need to put what we have learned into practice as often as we can. Mr. Williams said 3 hours. I'll just take 2 minutes of the 3 hours. And again, want to say congratulations. Thank you for inviting the Ministry of National Security and the ODM for being part of this ceremony. And I look forward to the actual receiving of certificates by the participants so I can put my hands together, because we worked hard last week, and during the course of the exercise we did also work hard.
Mr. Corriett said the important factor is that the participants identify lessons to be learned throughout the exercise and they know where they stand. Director of Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, Don Macfield, said the organization is all about safety and security. However, in the event that the security and safety fails, they turn to individuals like the participants of the course to ensure that there is no loss of life.
If there is loss of life, you minimize it based on the training you have received and what you can do to help the victims of whatever incident may have happened. I'd like to congratulate the organizers of this event, and I hope that it will not be the last one. Last Friday evening, a team from our organization was here to observe the simulated exercise, and although you may not have heard everything you wish to hear, you may have heard some criticism. This is by no means a failure on your part.
He told the participants that there is no failure in an emergency exercise and it is all about testing the system. Chief Fire Officer Mr. Josiah Dupuy said the tutors conducted a fantastic exercise and commended them for it. He agreed with Mr. Corriett that in the fire and ambulance service, training is continuous. It is training that allows us to keep our skills current, he stated.
You can well imagine if someone wanted to be a sniper and waited until the day of the event at the Olympics to go and expect to place. You would have to be just, counting on luck and not skills. Skills are things that you acquire from practice. That is what Olympians do. That is what bodybuilders do. Whatever vocation it is, if you want to be good at it, you must practice. And therefore, especially in an area such as mass casualty management, which is not necessarily new to us, because most of us may have heard it before, but most of us have not truly practiced it.
Mr. Dupuy believes that the ultimate objective is to ensure that response to an emergency at any time is possible because of this training. The participants are now in better positions to be effective responders to a mass casualty situation. JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency's official Kazu Kuribayashi said the exercise was successful and much needed for the staff and members of the fire and ambulance services.
And other emergency and disaster-related personnel. It gives me the great pleasure to stand here today on behalf of JICA to say well done to all the participants who have completed this training in mass casualty management. It is our hope that there will never be cause for you to put this training into actions. But in the event that this becomes necessary, take pride in the fact that you have now being given the skills, the knowledge to respond completely to event of the disaster related to emergency at the Melbourne Hall Airport.
Andrew Francis. Addison Matthew. Kozia Charles. Martin Lockhart.
In other stories, fallen rocks on a section of the Point Michel to Soufriere Road has made it impossible for local residents from both villages to travel by vehicular transportation. On Tuesday, August 26 at about 6 a.m., enormous rocks from the cliff tumbled downwards near the Melviners Bar in Point Michel. No one was injured during the time of the incident. However, people were seen climbing over rocks to get to the other side of the landslide. One man said that his daily morning exercise is done in this area, but he had a strange feeling and decided not to go running. Matthias John Baptist of Loubier said he was at sea and had witnessed the entire incident.
Then I heard a cracking noise like, an earthquake. And then I saw the rock coming down, and then it dropped in the road and part of it splashed right by the bay in the sea. A transport had just passed about 5 minutes before. So I was really concerned, whether, that people are walking, exercising in the morning, whether, anyone trapped under it, because it's the way I normally run in the morning. Normally run this way in the morning, but then when I saw the hanging of the rock, I just had a feeling that anytime it would have gone.
The bus drivers in the Point Michel area served as shuttles for the persons traversing from Soufriere and Scott's Head to transport them into the city. Public Works employees later arrived on the scene with their heavy equipment to begin work on the road, hoping to alleviate this impediment and regain normalcy in all the affected communities. In more stories, the St. Joseph police are currently conducting a search for 72-year-old Ivney Luke of St. Joseph, who is believed to be mentally ill and has not been seen since Thursday, August 22nd. Public Relations Officer Inspector John Carbon has more details.
She was last seen about 5 p.m. at Layu Park the same day and was wearing a red dress, white hat, and blue slippers. The police, along with members of the community, have been searching for Ivney, but have been unsuccessful so far.
Anyone with information on the missing person is asked to call the nearest police station or the police hint line at 1-800-4468 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-8477. SAT TV will keep you updated on the progress of this story. And in court news, 3 men from the communities of St. Joseph and Layu appeared before Magistrate Bernard Paquette on Tuesday, August 27th, where they were slapped with 3 charges. Ezra Edmond, Tony King, and Esley Edmond were all charged: unlawfully cultivating 2,184 plants with a street value of $364,000, drug trafficking of a controlled substance with intent to supply, and possession of a controlled substance, namely cannabis. Tony King and Esley Edmond pleaded not guilty to all 3 charges, while Ezra Edmond pleaded guilty to all 3 charges. Prosecutor in the case, Inspector Claude Weeks, said on Sunday, August 25th, members of the Task Force Special Unit and Drug Squad noticed a number of cannabis plants located close to the E.O. Libla Highway. The officers proceeded to a small wooden building and saw one of the defendants outside. The officer informed them of the mission, and Mr. Edmond admitted that the plants were his. The officers also found a clear plastic bag and a Ziploc bag containing cannabis inside the house. All 3 defendants were arrested on suspicions, cautioned, and was then taken to the police headquarters. In mitigation, Ezra Edmond stated he has been unable to work since 2011 and decided to engage in the cultivation of cannabis to help support his family. Edmond was charged $10,000 for the cultivation of cannabis, to be paid within 3 months or in default to spend 1 year in prison. For possession with intent to distribute, he was charged $10,000, to be paid within 6 months or in default to spend 1 year in prison. No separate penalty was imposed for the possession of cannabis. Magistrate Bernard Paquette granted Tony King and Esley Edmond bail in the sum of $50,000. However, bail applications for the men were not settled due to the lack of documents. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.